And that's awesome. It's good. You should transcribe classical saxophone because that's going to help tremendously with your vibrato concept, with your articulation, and your release concept. You're still playing tongue stops, which are not a part of our language. They're fine for big band. They have tons of room. If you're improvising on ornithology, you should do tongue stops, but not in this concept. Okay, get Jean-Yves Formel playing the tune Vacances
Yeah, I'll write it down for you.
by Jean-Michel Damas. Now that with iTunes, it will take you about 2.5 seconds to find that track. It's 3 minutes. It's in C major. Cool. I'll just play it for you. Okay. But I want you to transcribe it, as in, put on the recording, play along with the track without writing anything down, just like you used to from the test description, only with this setup.
Okay.
Thinking about time field, thinking about air shapes, thinking about all the same parameters as you do when you transcribe cannonball. But it's very beautiful, and the harmonies are all major 7, sharp 11, you really enjoy it. But the style, all right? That's the biggest thing. And since you're just used to transcribing, it would just not be a big deal to use the same process to learn how to do classical saxophone. Classical saxophone grooves really hard. And when it grooves really hard, it's awesome. And just like your rhythm section, who's kind of not exactly in the sax and the bass and the drums don't have a good hookup, and it's kind of boring. That's exactly what happens in classical saxophone when the time field is not pristine. It becomes boring, and there's just nothing worse than boring classical saxophone. Well, maybe flat soprano. Flat soprano is worse. Flat soprano is probably the saddest thing ever. This last movement, it is a dance. All right? It has an obvious two feel with built-in accents that would allow you to understand, and for the audience to understand, what the air shape is. So, let's pick... Sorry. And I want you to play this under tempo because you're not prepared to play this at tempo yet. But I want you to groove really hard, as in keep the beat extremely steady and keep your subdivision accurate. All right, start on D. We're going to go up to about here.
Okay.
Good. What key are we in by the time we get?
D-ish.
Kind of, sort of, right?
Yeah.
With side, you know, with some E major in there and kind of F sharp minor, sort of. All right, because we're in D, what are the interesting notes in D?
I don't know, maybe like F sharp and C sharp.
Okay. If this was a tune and you were playing on your D major, what are the interesting notes for D? Right? The chord tones are interesting, the extensions are interesting. The 5, not as interesting. The 1, not as interesting. Why is that important? It is important because I'm going to emphasize those with my air when I play through this line. And it's going to make the whole thing more intricate. So, when I'm on E major, right? Let's say on E major, the note B is not particularly important. The note G sharp gives us more information about the chord. It's also on the downbeat. All that information tells me I'm going to replay this measure. If I didn't know that, which goes against the grain of the musical content. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when I play tonal music, I'm constantly thinking, what chord am I on? What extension am I on? What chord am I on? What function is this chord? Where's this chord going? Where's this chord note coming from? Because that allows me to tailor to reflect the harmonic content of a piece with my airstream. I do this all the time. One more time. Minus the mistakes. Now, check this out. So I've been doing, I just played a whole bunch of different accent schemes. Let's see. I accent every downbeat. I didn't accent every downbeat. No accent. I accented every 2 measures and every 4 measures. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 F sharps. And because I have 4 F sharps, I have a million different ways I can deal with them. I can accent all of them equally. I can accent them in cascading, being more intense manner. I can make a big hill that goes up and down. I can, I don't know, you do it. Okay, so we have, I just want you to play from F sharp to F sharp. 5 different ways.
5 different ways.
If it's the same, I will stop you and say it doesn't count. And I have witnesses.
We have about a minute, ED.
Okay, perfect, for 5 times.
Yeah, that's one. That was the same as your first version. Was it?
Yep. Can you accent them in a fancy, not obvious way? In a underhanded fashion?
Just like go crazy? Like, what
No,
is
okay. Accent them as a nuance, as something very small. Nice.
Kind of
Do it again. Do it again. All right, 2 more originals. Go ahead. All right, 1 more original.